one of the all-time great scorers, Kevin Durant. He's 8th on the NBA's all-time scoring list, and based on his career average of just under 1,800 points per season, Durant's on pace to overtake Michael Jordan for 5th all-time this season. And he will take down the 6th different jersey of his career here in what he and the Rockets hope will be the final stop of his storied career. KD has averaged the most points per game in 4 of his 5 previous stops, trailing just Wilt Chamberlain in Dubs history. And Durant's really not showing any signs of slowing down here as he takes his scoring prowess to Houston. At 36 years old last season, Durant led the NBA in field goal percentage, on jumpers, and mid-range shots. And as the contesting defender, KD allowed the lowest field goal percentage in the NBA last season. So make sure you write all of these things down, take a picture of it. And for more on this, you can check out Michael C. Wright's profile on Kevin Durant on ESPN.com. It's Kevin Durant's pursuit of perfection, and that led him back to Texas. But you don't have to wait. Michael C. Wright joins us now. He's live in Oklahoma City ahead of tonight's contest here. So Durant, Michael, just signed a 2-year extension with Houston. Why is this the place that he wanted to be?
Well, Malika, there are a couple of reasons at play here. I would say, number one, familiarity. You know his history with Ime Udoka out in Brooklyn and with Team USA. But on some of his stops, he played with Jeff Green, Josh Okogie, Steven Adams. Okay, well, he's got 2 college teammates from the University of Texas that are working within that organization. Their assistant coach, Royale Ivey, well, he's a former Longhorn too, and he's one of Kevin's best friends. So there's that. But the second part of it is that, look, Kevin is a straight-up hooper. That's all he wants to do, and he found a place in Houston that will support that endeavor. As you know, Kevin wants to perfect the game of basketball, and the Houston Rockets are 100% behind that.
Familiarity is certainly an important part of a decision-making process when you're looking at where you want to be long-term. And Kevin Durant is saying right now that is Houston. But it's ring night for the Oklahoma City Thunder, a place that Kevin Durant knows very, very well. Do you think, we were wondering, is he going to be standing out there when this organization gets their trophy, when they get their rings?
Malika, that's a good question. Hopefully we can ask Ime Udoka that before this ceremony actually takes place. But I can tell you one thing. Kevin does not want any of the attention to be on him. Look, he's already participated in a couple of ring ceremonies with the Golden State Warriors. He's already done that. And he doesn't want to take anything away from just the accomplishments of these players. Most importantly, the organization and its fans. So Kevin wants nothing to do with it. He knows the cameras will be on him if he's standing out there tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can respect and appreciate that that's Kevin's hope in all of this, but he's Kevin freaking Durant. I think there is going to be some attention on him. The schedule makers obviously saw this when they were laying this opening night out. Michael C. Wright, enjoy tonight's game. We really appreciate the time. However KD's Rockets tenure gets underway, we know one thing. It's going to be done in a big way, and we mean that literally. Kendrick Perkins, my friend over here, we call him Big Perk, and we call him that for a reason. You're listed as 6'10", and you played center. Here's the thing. Look at this. Houston is starting 4 players taller than you tonight against Oklahoma City. So usually I tee you up for a big man balling. This is big men balling.
And one player that's like 2 inches shorter than me in the point guard and Amen Thompson. Now, look, I know they went out and got Kevin Durant to address a lot of issues, the shooting, who's going to be the fourth-quarter closer, but they didn't bring 6'11" Kevin Durant and add him to this supersized lineup to get cute. This is a team last year that finished 7th in the NBA in points in the paint, and damn it, they started off this preseason still making love to the paint. Still making love to the paint for us getting points. And I want you to look at this. This is 6'11", Kevin Durant, seeing across the floor, drops a dime to Şengün cutting for an easy basket. Look at this play. We call this here the Paul Pierce cut. Look at this seal. 6'11", Şengün to 6'11", Jabari Smith Jr. over 6'4", Jordan Poole, deep seal, paint points. I expect to see a lot of this lineup. They're not going to change their identity because they got Kevin Durant and adding Reed Shepherd to the lineup. This team is going to be dominant.
I feel like I'm wondering, 6'7"? My heels are a lot taller than I thought they were.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, Perk. Yes, this is an enormous lineup that Houston is bringing to the party. But the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're bringing the Thunder on the defensive end. Remember, they had a historic year. These are just some of the categories they led defensively. Defensive efficiency, field goal percentage, paint defense, fast break defense. They forced the most turnovers, which is going to be something interesting to watch tonight if Amen Thompson has the ball in his hands a lot. They had the most deflections, steals. They scored the most points per game off of turnovers here. So you got the Rockets supersize me over here, and then you have OKC trying to make things comfortable with that defense that we just saw. What wins out here, Brian?
Yeah, so this is not the best shooting lineup that the Rockets are going to start. They have other lineups that they're going to play. The potential will be better. I think they just want to have the option to go super big, as Perk demonstrated. But I want to point out that I know that this has been a lot about Amen Thompson and his role now as point guard. I know there's been a lot of excitement about Kevin Durant. But let me just throw a little bit of light on Alperen Şengün. Alperen Şengün had a brilliant summer for Türkiye in Eurobasket. They reached the title game. He put up huge numbers, and his role already was really important in this offense. He was an all-star last year for the first time. Without Fred VanVleet, they're going to lean into him more. This is Şengün's time to shine. I expect him to have an explosive season, and he'll be a big part of the game plan tonight.
Yeah, he had quite the summer. He led Turkey to the title game at Eurobasket. 25 points, 12 rebounds, nearly 8 assists in 36 minutes. And then he continued his strong play in the preseason. He averaged a 20-point triple-double per 36 minutes here.
Didn't take any time off. Came right in and played.
Exactly, he did not. All right, the Warriors, they went 27-8 last season when Steph Curry, Draymond, and Jimmy Butler all played together. That's including the play-in and the playoffs. You're going to hear a lot of numbers surrounding their record. But remember that Golden State had a losing record before trading for Jimmy Butler last season. So back here with our Anthony Slater joining our desk as well, our Golden State Warriors reporter. And it's not that you look at how you start, right? You tend to look at how you finish. And I think that that's probably what Golden State was thinking with their offseason here. Because I'm looking, they added, all right, Jonathan Kuminga, Gary Payton II, Al Horford. They bring back Jimmy Butler. Draymond Green is still there. Steph is surrounded now with this very good mix of veterans. They have a lot of exciting young players. So what intrigues you about this season?
Well, my biggest question is how much are they going to play together?
Okay.
Tonight we know they will, right? Their main four, older guys are going to play together. But Al Horford, they already announced is not playing in back-to-backs, so you can strip 15 games from his season because that's how many back-to-backs they have. And you need to see the youth kind of rise above them. Brandon Podziemski, is a guy, entering his third season that I think needs to show a lot. And then Jonathan Kuminga, I know we've had a lot of Jonathan Kuminga conversations this summer, but he's very important to them because, again, Al Horford's probably only going to play like 20, 24 minutes a game. He's a big addition, but there's going to be a lot of young guys needing to play minutes.
In talking to executives around the league, they think Al Horford is one of the biggest underrated additions that happened in the whole summer. Because of the Kuminga situation, it didn't sort of floated around and didn't get done till late. That was exactly the type of player they needed. And frankly, they paid him below market value. He wanted to be on the Warriors. They were able to get him below market value. But I'm just going to go with what Steph said. Steph said absolutely they think that they can win it this year. Of course.
So does Kevin Pelton, the machine.
Of course last year, if that hamstring injury doesn't happen, we'll never know. I mean, I don't think anybody was beating the Thunder, but it took 2 7-game series. Like, I can totally get why the Warriors have a lot of excitement coming into tonight's game.
Yeah, I mean, there's all these could-have, would-have, should-haves about if Steph Curry didn't get hurt in that series. Sham, when we're looking at all of these options that the Golden State Warriors have, let's just focus on tonight. Who do we expect to be in the starting lineup?
So I'm told Steve Kerr is leaning towards starting Jonathan Kuminga in the starting lineup, which would mean Al Horford coming off the bench. And I think that's something to keep an eye on over the early part of this season. Jonathan Kuminga getting a good chunk of starts here. And so the potential lineup here that we see, Stephen Curry, Brandon Podziemski, Jimmy Butler, Jonathan Kuminga, and then Draymond Green playing at the 5. And Al Horford, his age, how many years he's been in the league, and monitoring that, the back-to-backs and his minutes early in the season. And Moses Moody's another player who's injured, has a calf strain. He's going to be out tonight. He was vying for a potential starting spot, too. He will not be starting tonight. Obviously, Podziemski will be at the 2. I'm told Friday, potentially, season debut for Moses Moody from that calf strain.
So, I've been married for 16 years, right?
Hi, Vanity.
Okay, a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and a lot of beefs. And a lot of times in a marriage, you got to be the bigger person to go make things right. And feel Steve Kerr, and I applaud him because he's making things right or trying to at the start of the season with Jonathan Kuminga by putting him and saying that he may be starting tonight. Yeah, sometimes you got to stroke a young guy's ego. Sometimes you got to make him feel love because last year, he didn't feel love. He didn't feel wanted. So I think this is a great starting point for Steve Kerr and Jonathan Kuminga because you're going to need him. In a conference, in a league where the wings are still the most important position, that athleticism that Jonathan Kuminga brings to this team, one of the most athletic players in the NBA, is needed for the Golden State Warriors to go out there.
It's fascinating, the two games tonight. In the first game, we're going to see, if you want to throw the guys that are 6'11", we're going to see about 6 guys starting that are 6'11" or taller. In the second game, look how small. Even with Gabe Vincent on the Lakers side, small across the board. The league has got a lot of diversity right now.
To Perk's point, Jonathan Kuminga was ejected in his final moment of the preseason and went after the ref and got fined for it. And Steve Kerr came out post-game and said, I liked it. I liked the fire. And he also liked the defensive rebound on the possession and the sprinting of the floor because it was his 6th defensive rebound. So to your point, there is a little bit of that going on.
I know I've been liking you OKC for a reason, Slater.
So Jonathan Kuminga looking to get the start tonight. Our Charania is reporting. So reminder, we've had 7 different champions in the last 7 seasons, and that has never happened before in NBA history. However, in this era of parity, Oklahoma City's 2-to-1 odds of defending the title, they're the best by any of the defending champions over the last 7 seasons. So joining us now is our senior writer, Tim MacMahon. Tim, what is SGA saying about the Thunder's potential to get... Yeah, those Grays are saying senior, is that what you're saying? But let's talk about SGA. Let's talk about the youth in Oklahoma City. Senior writer. What is SGA saying about trying to get another banner in the rafters this season?
Howdy, Malika. SGA told me he's more motivated to win another championship than he was even to win the first. And look, he had a historical season. You can put the numbers up, put the accomplishments up. It ranks with some of the greats in NBA history. He wants to have a career like that. He wants to be known, he told me, as one of the all-time winners. He understands there's a lot of guys who have won one, as great accomplishment as that is. He wants to win multiple because he wants to be considered in that special class all time. That's the motivation. Now the focus, it's day-to-day, practice, very much grinded out. Like last year, he wins the MVP. He put it in the corner of his house and didn't take it out until after the championship because he could not worry about the success he's had. He was focused on the future.
This sounds very much like the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, okay, let's focus on the future. It's a long season ahead. How are the Thunder approaching the start of the season? They know they have a target on their backs. Kevin Durant is coming in for ring night. There's all this stuff surrounding Oklahoma City. So how do they keep that focus?
Well, they tell you they're not focused on the future. They're focused on the present. Look, this is a franchise that's made up of boring Boy Scouts, and that's a good thing. I don't mean it as an insult. They are so good at taking the Sam Presti program lines and executing them. And this year, coming into the season, Sam Presti had a couple of catchphrases that really sum up the Thunder's focus for this season. They are chasing improvement. They're not defending a championship, chasing improvement, because they are, in Presti's words, builders, not guardians. They're not guarding the championship they won last season. They're trying to build toward another one. And let's be honest, eventually more and more and more. But I asked Mark Duggan, okay, hey, 68 wins, all-time great point differential. You won the championship. What improvement are you chasing? And he gave a good OKC Thunder line. He basically said, we're going to go game by game, take the feedback from each game, and really search for those opportunities.
A couple of Boy Scouts. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I married one. Actually, he's an Eagle Scout. But Senor Senior, thank you so much for stopping by NBA Today. Let's.
I'm on fire. It's NBA,